This lesson is the closing lesson of the first stage. We are not learning a new search trick today. We are building the workbench you will use for the rest of the course. That may sound ordinary, but it matters. OSINT work creates lots of small pieces: screenshots, links, source notes, archive pages, tables, timelines, doubts, and drafts. If those pieces are not organized, the investigation becomes hard to review. You may remember that you saw something, but you cannot explain where it came from or why it mattered. So before we continue into more concepts and tools, we set up the habit: where to save materials, how to name files, how to record sources, how to keep evidence cards, how to write notes, and how to review mistakes. This is the difference between "I watched the course" and "I built a working investigation practice." OSINT learning falls apart when records are missing. You download one file today, take one screenshot tomorrow, copy a link next week, and later you cannot remember which source supported which judgment. That is not a small inconvenience. It means the work cannot be reviewed. A simple example: you verify a public claim and save a screenshot. 2 weeks later, the page is deleted. If your screenshot does not show the page title, URL, time, or context, you may not be able to explain where it came from. Preparation is not paperwork for its own sake. It makes practice leave a trace. Every exercise should leave something usable: a record, a table, a card, a timeline, a short note, or a brief. That way the course accumulates into skill instead of disappearing into a downloads folder. Start with a fixed folder structure. Do not overthink it. You do not need an enterprise case management system. You need a structure that you can actually keep using. For each lesson or practice task, create places for raw materials, screenshots, source links, drafts, outputs, and review notes. Raw materials are the original files or pages you collected. Screenshots are page evidence. Source links go into a record table. Drafts hold your thinking. Outputs are the final table, brief, timeline, or report. Review notes capture what went wrong or what needs improvement. The point is retrieval. If you come back 3 months later, you should know where the screenshot is, where the link is, what judgment it supported, and what you were unsure about. That is what keeps a learning project from collapsing. File names should be written for future you. Names like Screenshot 1, New Document, and Final version are useless once you have 20 lessons and several practice projects. A better file name includes a date, lesson number, topic, source, and version when needed. For example, if you are doing a news verification exercise, the name might include the date, lesson number, news topic, source type, and whether it is a screenshot or notes file. The exact naming style can be your own. What matters is consistency. A good file name should answer 3 questions without opening the file. What is this? Where did it come from? And which task does it belong to? If it can do that, you have saved yourself future work. The source record table is one of the simplest tools in the whole course, and also one of the most useful. At minimum, record the source name, link, access time, saved location, initial credibility, and notes. Why access time? Because pages change. Posts disappear. Search results shift. A public record may be updated. A company page may be rewritten. Why saved location? Because later you do not want to search through folders asking, "Where did I put that screenshot?" Why credibility? Because not every source should be treated equally. An official filing, a media article, and a social repost may all be useful, but they carry different weight. When you write a report later, the source table becomes your memory. You will thank yourself for building it early. Not every piece of material needs a full evidence card, but key leads do. An evidence card is where you slow down and ask, what exactly does this item claim? Where is the screenshot? What is the source? How strong is this evidence? What are the limits? Suppose you find a public penalty notice about a company. The evidence card should not just say, penalty found. It should say who issued it, when it was accessed, what behavior it describes, whether it is recent, and what it does not prove. That last part is important. Evidence has limits. A penalty notice may support, there was a regulatory penalty. It does not automatically support, the company is unsafe for all cooperation. Evidence cards keep your judgment from drifting beyond the material. Screenshots need context. A common beginner mistake is cropping only the sentence that looks important. Later, nobody can see the page title, URL, date, surrounding text, author, or platform context. A better screenshot keeps enough of the page to understand where the evidence came from. When possible, include the page title, address bar, visible time, and surrounding content. For important pages, keep the link and consider an archive. Web pages are not stable. Posts get deleted, websites redesign pages, and search results change. Think of screenshots and links as a pair. The screenshot preserves what you saw. The link lets others return to the source if it still exists. The archive helps when the live page changes. Together, they make the evidence easier to review. Even while learning, build safe habits. You do not need to become paranoid, but you should avoid mixing your personal online life with investigation practice. Do not casually log into your personal account while viewing investigation targets. Keep a separate browser profile for practice. Be aware that cookies, recommendations, platform login states, and account visits can create traces. 4 simple course exercises. This may feel unnecessary, but habits form early. If you always use your real account for everything, that habit will follow you into more sensitive tasks later. A basic separation setup is enough for now. Personal browsing on one side, research practice on another. Different browser profile, different saved passwords, fewer accidental logins. Safety is easier when it becomes routine. Good notes start with questions, not with copied material. Many learners copy paragraph after paragraph into notes. After a while, the note becomes long, but it does not help decision-making. Try a question-centered note instead. Write the core question at the top. Under it, write sub-questions. Under each sub-question, add leads, evidence, possible judgments, and uncertainties. For example, if the task is this company a reliable supplier? Sub-questions might be legal existence, recent disputes, operating signals, and public complaints. Each sub-question gets its own sources and doubts. This structure forces the note to support thinking. The goal is not to collect text. The goal is to move from material to judgment. Every lesson should leave a small deliverable. That deliverable can be a checklist, table, timeline, evidence card, short brief, or even a 3-minute oral summary. The exact form depends on the lesson. A source evaluation lesson may leave a rating table. A map verification lesson may leave a location record. A report lesson may leave a short executive summary. Why insist on output? Because "I understood it" is hard to verify. A small deliverable shows whether you can actually use the idea. It also becomes part of your learning archive. If you finish a lesson and nothing exists outside your head, the learning is fragile. If you finish with a small output, you can review it, improve it, and reuse the pattern later. Review is not writing, "I learned a lot." A useful review fixes the method. Ask, what is still uncertain? Where might I have misjudged? What evidence is missing? Which step should change next time? For example, maybe you trusted a social post too quickly. Maybe you forgot to save access time. Maybe your screenshot missed the URL. Maybe your conclusion sounded stronger than the evidence. Write that down. Not as self-criticism, but as method improvement. After enough lessons, these reviews become your personal method library. You will start seeing patterns in your own mistakes, and that is where skill improves. The first stage ends with a personal learning map. This map should include your real question, usable sources, boundary red lines, learning path, and stage outputs. Your real question could be something practical: how do I verify a company before cooperation? Or, how do I judge whether a viral image is old? Or, how do I check whether a public claim has an original source? Usable sources are the public channels you can use. Red lines are what you will not do. The learning path shows which stages of the course matter most for your goal. Stage outputs show what you have already produced. This map is not fixed forever. Update it after each stage. A good learning map keeps the course connected to your own tasks. Do not make the system too complex at the start. Some learners build 15 folders, 3 databases, 5 tags, and a perfect dashboard before doing one real practice task. That usually does not last. Common mistakes are simple. Too many folders, screenshots without links, unnamed files, no source table, no review notes, and a learning map that is never updated. Start with a system you can keep using for 2 weeks. 1 folder structure. 1 source table. 1 evidence card template. 1 review note. That is enough. After you feel friction, improve it. Do not design for imaginary complexity before you have real material. Simple and stable beats perfect and abandoned. Today's practice is concrete. Create your course workspace. First, make a course folder. Second, create a source record table. Third, write 1 real question you want this course to help answer. Fourth, list 3 boundaries you will not cross. Fifth, save an evidence card template. This should not take long. The goal is not to make a beautiful system. The goal is to make the next lesson easier to use. When later lessons ask you to verify a source, save a screenshot, build a timeline, or write a short judgment, you will already have a place to put the work. That is how preparation turns into momentum. This closes the first stage. You have seen the course map. You know what OSINT means. You have compared this course with ordinary tool tutorials. You have learned the boundary of lawful public information. You have seen the shape of a complete project. And now you have a basic workspace for learning and practice. That is enough foundation to move forward. Next stage, we enter intelligence thinking and requirement management. In plain language, how to turn vague curiosity into clear intelligence needs, collection requirements, and useful deliverables. Keep the workspace from this lesson. We will use it immediately.